It used to be that if you had a family, you drove a sedan, and then it was a wagon. My generation, we grew up with minivans. Sure, they weren't the coolest things out there, but there was nothing more practical. And then somewhere along the way, the minivan became the mullet of the auto industry, and families flocked to crossovers. But are they really better suited for family life than a minivan? That's what we're here to find out. And to help us is the Kia Sedona and 3-row Hyundai Santa Fe. So why did I choose the Santa Fe for this test? Simple. I don't think there's a better 3-row midsize crossover on the market right now, making this the best minivan alternative available. The base price starts at a shade more than $30K, but you don't get a whole lot for the money in terms of features. Of course, you can spec the Santa Fe out with all kinds of tech and safety features, but they will push the price up to closer to $50K. All the safety features you could want have been added to the Santa Fe for the 2017 model year, including adaptive cruise control and autonomous emergency braking. It also features all sorts of comfort and technology options that might not put it at the top of its class, but it's pretty close. The Santa Fe gets its power from a 3.3-liter V6 that provides plenty of power and reasonable fuel economy. It also drives pretty smoothly and is easy to live with for commuting duty or a longer road trip. Honestly, it drives really nicely and is a lot more car-like than you would think, but with a crossover like this, it's all about space, and that's something that the Santa Fe more than delivers on. To make things fair, we went with a 7-seater model, but you can get the Santa Fe with second-row captain seats if you only need room for 6 people. Legroom in the second row isn't that bad, and it still provides room for adults to sit back there with the front seats positioned comfortably. And it's also got plenty of headroom even with this panoramic sunroof. About the only place you'll notice the Santa Fe struggling is in the third row, with not a whole lot of space even for kids. I mean, it's not really where anyone would want to sit, and it should be saved for emergency purposes only. Open the Santa Fe's tailgate and you'll start to see why it's one of my favorites. Cargo room with all 3 rows of seats upright isn't great, but it's definitely got enough room for groceries. Tumble the third row into the floor and you've got 41 cubic feet of space, which is more than enough room for a trip to Costco. But fold the second row and cargo room swells to an impressive 80 cubic feet. If I had to nitpick, I'd say that I wish the second row folded flatter than it does in the Santa Fe, but it's not a huge deal. All told, it's a pretty impressive package that drives nicely and makes the most of its dimensions to offer plenty of space inside. But how does it compare to a minivan? So I'm sure you're wondering why I chose the Kia Sedona for this comparison test, and the answer is pretty simple. It may not be the most affordable minivan on the market because that title still belongs to the aging Dodge Grand Caravan, but it probably offers the most bang for your buck. It starts well below 30 grand and packs some pretty decent standard content into that price. Yeah, you can spec this thing out with everything from second row captain seats with leg rests to adaptive cruise control, navigation, you name it. But that will push the price up well above 40 grand. Our tester falls somewhere in between and packs a pretty nice amount of premium content in the Sedona without breaking the bank. It's priced in the mid-30s and features pretty much everything I would want if I were in the market for a new family hauler. It's got heated and ventilated front seats, a heated steering wheel, heated second row seats, automatic tri-zone climate control. I mean, I'm not sure what much more you would want in a family hauler. Our tester seats 7 people with second row captain's chairs that can be slid back to front for more legroom or cargo room. It also features a folding third row that can be tucked away when you don't need it for more cargo room or to carry more passengers in a pinch. It also features leather upholstery that's soft to the touch and easy on the eyes, and even easier to clean in the event of a spill, which is pretty likely if you're hauling kids around in the back. The Sedona is also available with power sliding rear doors, which any parent will tell you makes it super easy to load the kids, get their seatbelts done up without putting any pain on your back. The second row captain's chairs also make it really easy and comfortable to access the third row of seats. They also offer way more room than the Santa Fe's third row and can be used in more than just emergency situations. When I first drove this generation of the Kia Sedona, I wasn't all that impressed. It just seemed kind of sloppy at times. I mean, there were a lot of squeaks and rattles in the interior, and the rear suspension just seemed off. It's a multi-link setup, but it felt more like a torsion beam and seemed really chattery on rough roads. But it really seems like Kia has buttoned it all down. The 3.3-liter V6, the same one that's used in the Santa Fe, it's really linear. There's plenty of power, even with all this extra sheet metal and glass around back. I'm really impressed with this thing. It just drives a lot smaller than it is, except for in the cabin where you have access to all this room. I don't see why people stop buying minivans in the first place. I don't understand what's wrong with them. Yeah, they might not be cool, but who said crossovers were cool anyways? The other thing I like about driving the Sedona is the nice and commanding view you get from the driver's seat. It's nice and tall, and I know that's one of the reasons why people have migrated to crossovers, but this thing offers the same great view. It also features a really short nose, which makes it super easy to navigate around parking lots and parked cars. The only real complaint I have is that the steering feels really loose and floaty at times, especially at low speeds. Now that's not such a problem because it's nice and easy on you when you're moving around a parking lot or pulling out of your driveway, but when you're out on the road, I just wish it was a little bit tighter. Other than that, there's not a whole lot wrong with the way that this thing drives. It's smooth, it's pretty quiet, not a whole lot of road noise in the cabin. It's a pretty well put together vehicle. Around back, the Sedona packs its biggest advantage over crossovers like the Santa Fe. Open the tailgate and cargo room is a respectable 34 cubic feet thanks to the deep floor well that tucks away the third row of seats. Tuck away the third row and space grows to 78.5 cubic feet, which is almost the same as the Santa Fe with both rows of its seats out of the way. And removing the second row of seats provides a maximum of 142 cubic feet of space. When it comes to finding a new family hauler, the market is flooded with choice, with plenty of crossovers out there and a few minivans and wagons still kicking around. So which of these two would I choose? Yeah, the Sedona doesn't offer all-wheel drive like the Santa Fe, and it can't tow as much. But the cabin is way roomier and way more versatile, yet it still offers a car-like ride. And there's nothing more practical than a minivan.